America in the hearts of billions is portrayed as the ultimate land of freedom. It is marketed as a paradise where anyone can achieve the impossible. But if you dare to peel back the plastic shell of Hollywood and corporate marketing, you will witness a decaying superpower struggling with a deep internal agony. It is a fractured society where obscene wealth chokes alongside desperate poverty. Today, we will not celebrate achievements but expose the darkest corners. These are the terminal cracks threatening the very foundation of modern America. In the 1960s, a single worker could provide for an entire family. They could own a home and secure a future with one humble income. Now that American dream has mutated into a nightmare of survival for the masses. The wealth gap has exploded to the most dangerous levels since the Great Depression. 1% of the elite hold more gold than 90% of the population. If you are born into the gutter, your chances of climbing out are nearly zero. There is a brutal paradox unfolding known as the working poor. Millions are working 3 back-breaking jobs, yet they still cannot afford a roof. They are the ghosts of the economy, delivery drivers and cleaners invisible to you. They have traded bedrooms for rusted cars as rent prices burn through their souls. The United States boasts world-class hospitals, but only for the ultra-rich. This is the only developed nation where a medical bill is a financial death sentence. One simple ambulance ride can strip a family of their entire life savings. When your health is tied to your boss, losing your job means losing your life. Now look at the horrific graveyards of the living, the zombie cities. The opioid plague was not ignited by street thugs or foreign cartels. It was engineered by massive pharmaceutical giants pushing lethal painkillers. An entire nation was tricked into addiction under the guise of safe medicine. Fentanyl is 50 times more potent than heroin, and it is a relentless reaper. Every single year, over 100,000 Americans vanish into drug overdoses. That body count exceeds the American soldiers lost in the entire Vietnam War. The youth who should lead the future are now drifting through streets like shadows. The social safety net has disintegrated before the sheer magnitude of this horror. But the addiction to chemicals is only one layer of this crumbling empire. There is a deadlier obsession woven into the very fabric of the flag. The United States is the only nation on Earth with more firearms than humans. A constitutional right intended for defense has morphed into a permanent bloodbath. Mass shootings have become a daily ritual in the land of the free. The price of this freedom is paid in the blood of innocent civilians every hour. Schools which should be sanctuaries of learning are now fortified war zones. An entire generation of children is being raised with the trauma of active shooter drills. They learn how to hide under desks and stay silent while a killer stalks the halls. The psychological scars on the American youth are deeper than any bullet wound. Politicians offer thoughts and prayers while cashing checks from weapon lobbyists. The legislative system is paralyzed by greed, while the body count continues to rise. But the violence is not just physical, it is deeply ideological and digital. America is no longer a united front, but a house divided by invisible walls. Social media algorithms have weaponized our opinions and shattered our shared reality. People no longer debate ideas, they exist in echo chambers of pure hatred. The truth is dead and has been replaced by whatever confirms your political bias. Families are torn apart over voting ballots, and neighbors look at each other as enemies. The very concept of a common good has vanished into a sea of radical polarization. Behind the high-speed internet and shiny screens lies an epidemic of loneliness. Americans are more connected than ever, yet they are dying of isolation. The hyper-individualistic culture has scorched the earth of community and belonging. Depression and suicide rates have surged to record highs in the modern era. When the dream tells you that you are alone in your failure, the soul breaks. The pressure to perform and consume has created a mental health catastrophe. We see a nation of people medicated just to tolerate the reality they built. The infrastructure of the country is literally rotting from the inside out. Crumbling bridges and contaminated water systems plague many forgotten cities. While billions are sent overseas for wars, the streets of Detroit and Flint suffer. This is the decay of an empire that forgot how to take care of its own blood. In the shadows of Silicon Valley, people sleep in tents on the cold concrete. Tech giants worth trillions ignore the humanitarian crisis at their front door. The contrast is a slap in the face to the ideals of justice and equality. Justice in America is often determined by the weight of your wallet. The prison industrial complex thrives on the incarceration of the poor. Modern slavery is alive and well in the form of mass private prisons. The land of the free has the highest incarceration rate in the civilized world. We trade human lives for profit margins in a cold and calculated cycle. Every institution that once held the country together is now under heavy fire. The media has traded objective journalism for sensationalism and outrage. They feed the fire of division because conflict is more profitable than peace. The public is left confused and angry, unable to find a single source of truth. This is the systematic dismantling of the American collective consciousness. We are witnessing the rise of a new feudalism where the middle class is extinct. The dream of owning a small piece of land is now a cruel and distant joke. Investment firms buy up all the housing stock to turn citizens into permanent renters. You will own nothing, and you will be forced to like it in this new economy. The crushing weight of student debt has enslaved the minds of the educated. They start their adult lives in a hole that they can never climb out of. Creativity and innovation are sacrificed to the altar of monthly interest payments. Education was supposed to be a ladder, but it has become a heavy shackle. As the sun sets on the traditional values, the void is filled with nihilism. Young people see no future, and therefore they see no reason to invest in today. This loss of purpose is the quietest but most dangerous crisis of all. A nation without a vision for its people is a nation that is already dying. The cracks are no longer just on the surface, they have reached the core. We must ask ourselves if this machine can even be repaired anymore. Or is this the inevitable collapse of an empire that grew too big to care? The world watches in silence as the giant stumbles over its own shadows. The mirror is broken, and the reflection we see is unrecognizable. The decay of the American spirit is mirrored in its cold and calculated legal system. A system where the scale of justice is often tipped by the sheer volume of gold. The poor are processed through a conveyor belt of plea deals and mandatory minimums, while the elite white-collar criminals receive golden parachutes and soft landings. This is not justice, but a sophisticated form of social management for the unwanted. Mass incarceration has become a multi-billion-dollar industry fueled by human misery. Private prisons trade human bodies like commodities on a global stock exchange. The more souls they lock behind bars, the higher their stock prices climb. We have created a cycle of recidivism that ensures a permanent underclass of labor. Once you are in the system, the mark of a felon is a scarlet letter for life. You lose your right to vote, your right to work, and your right to dignity. In this land of second chances, the door is locked from the outside for the poor. While the streets rot, the digital world has become a new opium for the masses. The attention economy has turned every human interaction into a data point for sale. Our emotions are harvested by algorithms designed to keep us in a state of rage. Because rage is the most profitable currency in the world of high-speed scrolling. The psychological warfare being waged on the American mind is unprecedented. We are no longer citizens, but targets for sophisticated behavioral manipulation. The death of privacy is accepted as the price of convenience and cheap dopamine. We are building our own digital cages and calling it the pinnacle of progress. As the virtual world expands, the physical infrastructure continues to crumble. Cities like Flint and Jackson still struggle for the basic human right of clean water. In the heart of the most advanced nation, people are poisoned by their own faucets. This is the gross incompetence of a government that prioritizes war over its people. The military-industrial complex consumes trillions while the domestic heart bleeds. We are masters of destruction abroad, but failures of maintenance at home. The bridge you drive on today is likely past its expiration date and neglected. The train tracks are aging, and the electrical grid is a fragile web of band-aids. We are living in a house with a gold roof and a foundation that is rotting away. Look at the faces of the elderly who can no longer afford to retire in peace. They are forced back into the workforce greeting customers at big box retailers. Their golden years have been stolen by inflation and the collapse of pensions. The dignity of old age has been sacrificed for the efficiency of the market. Meanwhile, the youth are drowning in a sea of nihilism and lack of belonging. They have inherited a world that seems to have no place for their aspirations. The social contract is not just broken, it has been shredded and set on fire. Why work hard when the game is rigged to benefit the house every single time? Why follow the rules when those who break them are rewarded with power and fame? The erosion of ethics is the quiet poison that kills a civilization from within. We have replaced character with brand and integrity with viral influence. The culture of fame for the sake of fame has created a hollowed-out society. Everyone is a performer and nobody is truly present in the moment anymore. This performative existence is the final stage of a culture that has lost its way. Let us talk about the crushing reality of the food deserts in the urban centers. Millions of Americans have better access to guns and drugs than to fresh fruit. Obesity and malnutrition are two sides of the same coin of corporate greed. The cheapest food is the deadliest food, engineered to be addictive and toxic. We are poisoning the next generation before they even have a chance to grow. This is a slow-motion genocide hidden in colorful packaging and catchy slogans. The healthcare system then profits from the very diseases this food creates. It is a perfect and evil circle of profit that treats humans as raw material. In the rural heartland, the factories have closed and the hope has evaporated. Towns that once built the world are now ghost towns haunted by better days. The despair is so thick you can feel it in the air of every abandoned main street. Suicide and addiction are the only growth industries in these forgotten places. The American empire is expanding its reach while its heart is turning to ash. The brain drain from the rural to the urban has left a hollow shell behind. We are a nation of nomads searching for a home that no longer exists for us. The racial tensions of the past have not been solved, they have only been weaponized. Every tragedy is used to fuel more division rather than seeking actual healing. We are trapped in a cycle of grievance and retribution with no end in sight. The elite encourage this infighting so that we never look up at our true masters. Divide and conquer is the oldest trick, and it is working perfectly in America. The media is the gasoline on this fire, burning the bridge of common understanding. Journalism has become a blood sport where the only goal is to destroy the other. The concept of the loyal opposition is dead and has been replaced by heresy. If you do not agree with the group, you are cast out into the digital wilderness. This intolerance is the death of the intellectual freedom that built the West. We are burning the books of our history and replacing them with propaganda. The education system has become an indoctrination camp for corporate workers. Critical thinking is discouraged in favor of standardized obedience to the state. We are creating a generation that knows how to follow orders, but not how to ask why. A compliant population is easier to manage but impossible to sustain as a republic. The light of reason is flickering and the darkness of superstition is returning. We see it in the rise of cult-like movements and the rejection of objective science. When people lose faith in institutions, they will cling to anything that gives hope. Even if that hope is a lie designed to lead them off a cliff of irrationality. This is the intellectual bankruptcy of a nation that has stopped learning. The American empire is now facing its greatest challenge from the inside out. It is not an external enemy that will bring this house down, but its own weight. The weight of the lies we tell ourselves and the cruelty we allow for profit. We are standing on the edge of a precipice looking down into the dark abyss. And instead of stepping back, we are pushing each other toward the final fall. This is the tragedy of a dream that forgot it was supposed to be for everyone. The neon lights may still be bright, but the power is running dangerously low. We are witnessing the final acts of a drama that has gone on too long. The stage is cluttered with the wreckage of our own making, and the actors are tired. It is time to look at the reality of what we have become without the filters. It is a terrifying sight, but it is the only way to find a path back to humanity. But the path back is narrow, and it is guarded by the ghosts of our mistakes. The erosion of the American family is the silent earthquake beneath our feet. The home was once a fortress of stability, but it has become a transient station. Economic pressure has forced parents into a never-ending cycle of exhaustion. Children are being raised by screens and algorithms instead of human warmth. We have outsourced our most sacred duty to the cold hands of big technology. The result is a generation with high intelligence, but zero emotional anchor. They are adrift in a world that values their data more than their actual well-being. Look at the sprawling suburbs where neighbors live in isolated glass bubbles. We have built millions of homes, but we have forgotten how to build a community. The white picket fence has become a barrier to hide our shared national shame. Inside these houses, the light of the television is the only thing burning. The isolation is killing the American spirit one quiet afternoon at a time. Let us turn our gaze to the mental health institutions that were long ago closed. The patients were cast out onto the streets in the name of fiscal efficiency. Now the sidewalk is their asylum, and the jail cell is their only treatment. This is a humanitarian disaster hiding in plain sight in every major city. We walk past the suffering because it has become part of the urban landscape. Desensitization is the armor we wear to survive the cruelty of the modern street. The corporate capture of the American soul is nearly complete at this stage. Every holiday is now a shopping event, and every tragedy is a branding opportunity. We have commodified the very idea of rebellion and sold it back to the rebels. There is no escape from the marketplace because the marketplace is in our heads. The pursuit of happiness has been replaced by the pursuit of temporary relief. A nation of shoppers cannot maintain a democracy that requires active sacrifice. We have traded our birthright of self-governance for the comfort of the couch. The political theater in Washington is a distraction from the global decay. Two sides of the same coin fighting over scraps while the vault is being emptied. The national debt is a mountain that our children will be forced to mine for life. We are spending their future today to maintain the illusion of a superpower. The currency is losing its grip, and the world is losing its fear of the giant. Look at the veterans returning from wars with no clear mission or victory. They come back to a country that does not know what to do with their trauma. More soldiers die by their own hand at home than by the enemy on the battlefield. This is the ultimate betrayal of the men and women who bleed for the flag. They are discarded like broken equipment once the mission is no longer useful. The hollow patriotism of the stadium lights cannot cover the neglect in the clinics. The education system continues its downward spiral into irrelevance and debt. Teachers are underpaid and overworked while administrators build luxury offices. Students are tested on their ability to conform rather than their ability to think. We are producing a workforce for a 19th century factory in a digital age. The disparity between private academies and public schools is a new caste system. Your zip code determines your destiny before you even learn how to read. This is the death of meritocracy and the birth of a permanent aristocracy. The media machine is now purely a weapon of mass distraction and chaos. It thrives on the dopamine of the fake news and the panic of the emergency. Journalists have become influencers, and the truth has become a casualty of war. The public is kept in a state of constant anxiety to make them easy to control. A fearful population never asks for accountability, they only ask for safety. We are surrendering our liberties for a feeling of security that is never real. The culture of litigation has killed the spirit of risk and adventure. We are a nation of lawyers waiting for someone to trip so we can sue them. Trust has evaporated from the workplace and the neighborhood and the park. Everyone is a potential liability, and every child is a potential victim. This hyper-vigilance is the poison that dissolves the glue of a civil society. The loss of the third place, like the library or the cafe, is the final blow. We have nowhere to meet as equals without having to buy something to belong. Public spaces are being privatized and fenced off for those who can pay. The common ground is being sold to the highest bidder in the name of efficiency. The environmental scars on the American landscape are permanent and bleeding. Industrial waste is buried in the soil of the poor and the marginalized. The air in the Rust Belt is thick with the ghosts of a manufacturing past. We are extracting the wealth of the land and leaving a desert for our heirs. The short-term profit has blinded the nation to the long-term survival. This is the arrogance of an empire that believes it is immune to nature. The opioid crisis is now expanding into a synthetic poly-drug nightmare. New chemicals are appearing every week that are more addictive than cocaine. The cartels are more organized than the federal law enforcement agencies. The war on drugs was lost before it began because it ignored the demand of pain. The soul of the nation is in pain, and it is looking for a way to go numb. The fentanyl crisis is merely the symptom of a deeper spiritual bankruptcy. We have replaced the light of meaning with the darkness of the chemical fix. The mirror is starting to show the true face of the American modern reality. A nation of tired people governed by fearful leaders and funded by debt. The stars on the flag are fading, and the stripes are starting to unravel. The world looks on with a mixture of pity and terror at the falling giant. We are out of time for slogans, and we are out of room for more excuses. The crisis is here, and it is moving faster than our ability to adapt. The final act is being written, and we are the actors who have lost the script. The silence in the aftermath will be the only honest thing left of the dream. We must face the void and decide if we are willing to build something new, or if we will go down with the ship clutching the artifacts of our greed. The water is rising, and the light is dimming on the American experiment. This is the dark side that no one wants to talk about at the dinner table. But it is the only conversation that matters in the late hours of the night. The empire is at a crossroads, and every path leads into the unknown. We have traded our wisdom for data and our heart for a digital pulse. The cold metal of the machine is the only thing left of the human touch. History will not be kind to those who watched the house burn and did nothing. The smoke is filling the room, and the exit is nowhere to be found. The American dream is dead, and we are the ones who have to bury it. But a burial is not just an end, it is a reckoning for every lie we told. The moral decay has reached the highest offices of the corporate world. We see leaders who trade the safety of the public for a minor rise in stock price. Integrity has been replaced by a calculated cost-benefit analysis of human life. If the fine for a crime is less than the profit, they will commit the crime. This is the cold logic of a machine that has no soul and no conscience left. The rise of artificial intelligence is the final frontier of human control. We are handing over our creative spark to a black box of cold mathematics. Art and music and literature are being diluted into a sea of generic content. The human experience is being flattened by an engine that only seeks engagement. We are losing the ability to tell our own stories and speak our own truths. Soon, we will not know if the person we are talking to is human or silicon. This blurring of reality is the ultimate weapon of the tech aristocracy. They want to own not just your house and your car, but your very perception. If they control the lens, they control the world you think you live in. The loneliness epidemic is now being met with artificial companions and bots. Instead of fixing our broken communities, we sell people a digital friend. It is a hollow substitute for the warmth of a hand or the sound of a voice. We are drifting into a neon-colored desert of simulated affection and love. This is the psychological surrender of a nation that has given up on itself. The infrastructure of truth has been dismantled by the highest bidders. When science becomes a matter of opinion, the foundation of the world shakes. Conspiracy theories have filled the void left by the death of religious faith. People are searching for patterns in the chaos because the truth is too dark. They would rather believe in a secret war than face a random and cold reality. This mass delusion is the armor of a desperate and dying collective mind. The cities of the future are being designed as high-tech panopticons for us. Every move is tracked, and every word is recorded in the name of security. The social credit score is coming to the West in the form of financial bans. If you do not fit the narrative, your ability to survive can be turned off. This is the ultimate evolution of the tyranny of the corporate state. We are moving toward a world where you rent your freedom from a tech giant. And if you violate the terms of service, you effectively cease to exist. The stars on the flag are beginning to look like the lights of a dying star. The stripes are the bars of a cage that we have built with our own hands. We are the architects of our own destruction and the witnesses of our fall. The arrogance of the American experiment was thinking it could never fail. Every empire before us thought the same thing while the fire was starting. The fire is no longer starting, it is burning through the very heart of the country. We can smell the smoke in the schools and the hospitals and the streets. The air is thick with the scent of a civilization that has run out of time. The political divide is now a permanent chasm that no bridge can cross. We are no longer debating policy, we are debating the right of others to exist. This is the zero-sum game of a culture that has lost its compassion. When the enemy is your neighbor, the war is already over and you have lost. The military-industrial complex is the only thing that keeps the dollar alive. We export violence and chaos so that we can import luxury and comfort. But the blood we spill abroad eventually finds its way back to our own soil. The violence of the empire is a boomerang that is now returning home. We see it in the militarization of the local police and the surveillance. The tools of war are being turned on the citizens in the name of order. The peace we think we have is only the silence between two explosions. The American middle class has become a myth, like the unicorn or the dragon. You are either an owner of the world, or you are a servant to the machine. The ladder of success has been pulled up by those who reach the top first. They look down with contempt at the millions struggling in the mud below. This is the new American caste system hidden behind a mask of democracy. The meritocracy is dead, and the inheritance of the elite is the only law. We are a nation of subjects who still believe we are citizens of a republic. The spirit of adventure has been suffocated by the blanket of safetyism. We are a nation of risk-averse people waiting for a government that hates us. The fire in the belly of the American pioneer has been replaced by fear. Fear of the virus, fear of the neighbor, and fear of the future itself. This fear is the ultimate control mechanism for the modern state. They feed you the terror so that you will never ask for your freedom back. The land of the free is now the land of the monitored and the managed. The home of the brave is now the home of the medicated and the quiet. The silence of the suburbs is the silence of a grave that has not been dug yet. We are waiting for the final curtain to fall on this tragic and grand play. The actors are exhausted and the audience has already left the building. The lights are flickering and the stage is empty and the show is over. What remains is the question of what we will do in the cold darkness of night. Will we search for a new light, or will we curl up and wait for the end? The answer is written in the hearts of those who still dare to look up. But most have forgotten how to look up from the blue glow of their phones. The digital sunrise is the only sunrise they have seen in a decade. We are a nation of ghosts in a world of machines, and the wind is cold. The American dream is a ghost story that we tell to children to make them sleep. But the adults are starting to wake up to the truth of the morning light. And the truth is that the house is empty and the keys have been stolen long ago. The land of opportunity is a closed shop, and the sign says out of order. We are standing on the ruins of a dream that was too big for our tiny hearts. The tragedy is not the fall, but the fact that we let it happen for profit. We sold our souls for a discount and our freedom for a faster internet connection. Now, we have neither, and the bill is coming due with heavy interest. The giant is falling, and the world is holding its breath in anticipation. The shadows are long, and the night is deep, and the road is lost. Welcome to the dark side of the modern American reality, where we all live now. There is no exit sign in this theater, and the doors have been welded shut.